Well, after the Angels series, we said they were back. I think looking back on that now, we were wrong. Today, they announced that they are back. The Meat Man with a nuke, Teoscar with a clutch RBI single. How about the boys? They're hot, Ben.
Oh, they are hot. They're about as hot as Alejandro Kirk's bod is on a daily basis. That guy is incredible. They're getting timely hits. Oscar might be back too. Maybe. We'll see if this keeps going. The Blue Jays are looking good.
Oh, yeah, they're looking pretty darn good. And how about Julian Merriweather coming in and not playing terribly? Hey, we'll take it, Julian. It's all on Locked On Blue Jays, and it's right now, baby.
You are Locked On Blue Jays, your daily Toronto Blue Jays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Matt Bonaparte and Ben Shulman are with you on YouTube and on every other platform that you can possibly think of, maybe. What a game for the Jays to start out. They continue a little hot streak they're going on right now. 28-20 on the season, 8 games above 500. I'll take it. And a win 6-5 over the White Sox. We're recording right after it. Ben, do you have an immediate thought other than that the Meat Man is here?
Another ace that they've beaten to start a series. You take
Sure.
Shohei Ohtani down to start the Angels series, and the path to sweeping them gets a whole lot easier. You take down Lucas Giolito to start a White Sox series that's a 3-gamer at home instead of a 4-gamer on the road. That's how you get sweeps. You have to beat aces. And the Jays put a 6 spot up on Giolito than fewer than 5 innings. Not that many teams are going to do that this year.
Yeah, and you heard me talk about his circle change yesterday. Not too much in effect today, mowing down the lineup like I thought it would be. We'll get to our failure at the over-unders that we spoke about in yesterday's pod. But first, I mean, let's just look at this lineup for a second and see the damage they did. Kind of getting a hit whenever you needed it, and it wasn't necessarily the most usual of suspects. Only 4 guys got hits today, and that alone makes it seem not all that impressive. 0 for 5 from Vladdy, or excuse me, I'm looking at the wrong column. So I told you an entire lie right there. Listen, it's late. I got to get the brain moving. 7 guys got hits in this lineup today. And Teoscar and Alejandro Kirk, Bo Bichette and Springer are the guys who had multi-hit games. And how about Kirk? 3 for 4, including that tank. Lourdes, Chapman, Jansen also contribute a little bit. But really, doing it without Vladdy was incredibly, incredibly impressive to me. An over 5 day from the guy who's supposed to be the best in your lineup. For a lot of teams, that's going to hurt and a lot of times going to end up with a loss. For this Jays team, didn't matter.
2 tank day for Kirk and just a ridiculous performance. Yeah, that's what's supposed to separate this lineup essentially is you don't need Vladdy to be Vladdy every day. You don't need Bo to be Bo every day. You don't need Teoscar to be Teoscar every day because you have 4 different guys with multi-hit games and you get contributions up and down the lineup. Everyone but Vladdy reached in this game, and I'm also not counting Santiago Espinal, who was a pinch hitter. But even Kevin Biggio got on in this game too. The Jays just found a way to populate the bases consistently, and their luck is really starting to turn with runners in scoring position. 3 for 10 today. That's another good day.
Yeah, absolutely massive. And also the bullpen, while a little bit up and down in terms of the terrible performance that Trevor Richards came in and put on, but afterwards pretty much locked down. Merriweather and Romano a little bit worse than you'd like. Merriweather almost got out of the inning striking out the side, which would have been like the coolest comeback story ever. But instead gives up a couple hits before getting it done. And then Romano a couple hits. But otherwise, a really solid outing from this bullpen, and we continue to talk about how it's getting overworked, this, that, and the other thing. But they keep saying, Matt and Ben, it's all right, guys. We can handle it. So you got to give that, I mean, a little bit credit where credit's due there.
Yeah, they keep finding a way, too, to keep the pitch counts down despite using a lot of guys. I mean, you have to use 5 different guys tonight, but none of them throw more than 16 pitches. So you don't totally tax people, and you still have people available for tomorrow. I mean, you would like to use some of the lower leverage guys tomorrow if possible. Then again, the lines are kind of blurred because Merriweather pitched the 8th inning in a very big game today. So the more he can save guys, the better. And they're kind of saving guys like Simber, only 6 pitches. So he can go again, 6-pitch inning. You're going to take that every single time.
Yeah, and Montoya, we know, loves to go to guys in back-to-back days or sometimes 3 times in a 4-game series like we saw against Anaheim. So a big win for the Jays today. Ben and I talked yesterday about what we thought might happen in today's game. We did it through a couple of fictional betting lines. Ben, why don't we review what happened?
Yeah, so one of our betting lines, two of them were predicated on the Kevin Gausman start. So we'll start there. Both of us had the over on Kevin Gausman's 6 2/3 innings.
Pain.
Unfortunately, it ends up being, one of his shorter starts of the year. Still, if Kevin Gausman's like lower end to bottom out starts are 5 innings pitched, 3 earned runs, that's pretty good. Like
We'll
that's
take
what an
that.
ace. Yeah, that's what an ace does on his off day. That's an off day for an ace. He still puts you in position to try and win a game, and that's what Gosman did. I was bullish, and for the second straight time, went over on 6.5 strikeouts and lost that one. You
What will you
perfectly predicted 5, so you were Bonstradamus again. Congratulations. What was the next one? The next one was runs scored 5.5 was our fictional betting line. I had the over, you had the under, and the Jays end up getting the over. I did think it was going to be Alejandro Kirk that propelled it, but he managed to help them get that over. And then final one, which I'm a little bit sad about, both of us kind of scoffed at a betting line I came up with, and I scoffed at it myself. 1.5 hits for George Springer. We both said under, and he very much got the over. He had another multi-hit game. He just continues to be such a force for the Jays in the one spot in the lineup, going 2 for 5 with a run scored.
I will say, though, about the George line, we did say under, but we also both said that he'd get a hit. So we did have faith in Hip Hip Jorge. But yeah, we didn't do very well. And then this is why you should probably not take our betting advice. You might have thought that was a segue into bet online, but it's not. Sully taught us a couple of those. If you haven't seen that episode, you got to go check out our episode with the King, Sully. That was a blast. It was almost an hour long. So if you've got an hour to kill, go check that out.
Seriously. Yeah, that's a crazy hour.
But this game, and I'd say the last 4 games, have kind of put into perspective what the Jays can be. And I'm not saying that it is what they're going to be, because obviously baseball is an incredibly long season. There's so many twists and turns and bumps in the road that occur to where way down the line we'll be like, remember the Kirk game where he hit 2 dongs? That was wild. But they showed what they could be, and what they can be is a team that can hit all around the lineup and not really have to have their stars come out and play every single day like their games depend on it. So a hugely beneficial day for the lineup, but also massive to show that they can kind of hit with the big teams in the AL East, being the Rays and the Yankees. They're right up there.
Yeah, and tonight they actually catch the Rays and we're recording after the game, with the Rays losing to Texas and the Blue Jays winning. And I think they proved to some of their starters, which they proved, to be fair, probably more in the Angel game. But they don't need a guy to go, 7 innings, 1 or 2 runs anymore. They did for the first couple of weeks of the season, but they can pick up their starter on a mediocre to less than day. It wasn't a bad day for Kevin Gausman today, but he wasn't fantastic. And it's kind of nice for the Jays to get a win and not need their starter to be fantastic, because you can't rely on everyone to just be lights out every appearance.
Yeah. With games like these, it's looking like the Jays might be looking for some bling in the offseason. If you're looking for some bling, whether you're ready to pop the question or you're celebrating a milestone moment, find jewelry as unique as her or him with the modern convenience of online shopping at BlueNile.com. Listen, I might not be rocking the bling right now, and nor does Ben, but Locked On Syracuse host Brad Klein is always popping that Cuban link. If you want to look like him, you want to go to BlueNile.com. At BlueNile.com, you can celebrate all of life's special moments, from creating the custom engagement ring of her dreams or his dreams to gifting a classic and timeless jewelry piece, all at prices you won't find at a traditional jeweler. Make your moments sparkle with jewelry from BlueNile.com, and Locked On Sports listeners get $50 off purchases of $500 or more This podcast exclusive includes engagement. Use code LOCKEDON. That's code LOCKEDON. Plus, every order is insured, ships free, and arrives in discreet packaging that won't give away what's inside. Shop stress-free and find your forever peace. Go to BlueNile.com today.
Bones, we have an important favor to ask you.
So listen up.
Me, Locked On Syracuse host Brad Klein, we've put together a survey so that we can learn more about listeners like you and make your favorite Locked On podcast even better. This is your opportunity to tell us what you like and what you don't like. Like, why do they keep saying Locked On Syracuse host Brad Klein's name about our Locked On podcast or other podcasts? Go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey right now to get started. It won't take very long, and everyone that completes a survey can qualify for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Ticketmaster gift cards. To take our audience survey, go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey. $100 from Ticketmaster on the line. Thanks for your help. We appreciate it. All right, Bones. I have been no help to you recently in He Was a Blue Jay, which is where we go now after a Tuesday night victory from the Blue Jays. I gave you a pretty tough one last time. You are 17-3, so I don't want to scoff at that. But you're coming off a loss. I did a bit of a tough one. We went Edgardo Alfonso, a longtime New York Met, and ended up getting you a loss. It's keeping with the theme of a slightly tougher season 2. You're still well above 500 in season 2, though. So how are you feeling?
That's big. Edgardo Alfonso was the first guy to come through. He was a Blue Jay, and I heard his name, and I thought to myself, there was a 0% chance that was ever coming out of my mouth. So, that doesn't help. I'm not, that doesn't really, give me a huge vote of confidence. But, I got to be confident in my skills. At the end of the day, I'm 17-3, 18-3. What am I?
You're 17-3.
I'm 17-3, looking for 18-3 today. If I'm lucky, maybe I'll get to 19-2 because I'll get the first one so fast. I'm looking to just knock it out of the park, Ben.
All right. Well, we'll see if you can. For those who haven't heard, he was a Blue Jay. Essentially, the guy who you may not remember as a Blue Jay specifically. I'll talk about his career in 5 different hints. Bones has about 30 seconds or 3 guesses between the hints. Are you ready to get started?
Let's do it.
All right. Another season 2 guy on the board starts right now. Hint number 1. This pitcher debuted in 2002 with the White Sox.
Okay. Let's think about John Garland.
Incorrect.
It would have been insane if it was John Garland. You would have been.
Yeah, I would have had to write hints for a third one because you would have.
Couldn't be Mark Burley, right? You wouldn't do Mark Burley.
Not Mark Burley, too obvious.
A White Sox. Jason Marquis.
Not Jason Marquis. That's 3 guesses. We move on to hit number 2.
Okay.
Number 2. He was known for his time closing with the Nationals and Twins before going to Toronto.
Nationals and Twins. Not Joe Nathan. Never a National.
Not Joe Nathan. Would be awesome if he was a Blue Jay, but he was not a Blue Jay.
Glenn Perkins? No.
No, but you're full of guesses today, and I like it.
Rafael Soriano.
Incorrect. That's 3 guesses, and we move on to hint number 3. He played in New York.
Doesn't help because it could be the Mets or the Yankees. A closer. Well, it wasn't the Yankees, obviously. It couldn't have been the Yankees.
There you go. That's a good part of it.
Is it K-Rod? No, can't be K-Rod.
Not K-Rod.
A closer for the Mets? Let's think. Bobby Parnell?
Not Bobby Parnell.
Who closed? Like Billy Wagner closed for the Mets? That's not a guess, by the way. I know it's not Billy Wagner.
Yeah, that's fine. I can tell a little bit more when you're delivering as opposed to Bones talking. Here, just think on it for a sec. I'll recap the hints for everyone on audio.
If Putz, you'd say the Diamondbacks.
This pitcher debuted in 2002 with the White Sox. He was known for his time closing with the Nationals and Twins before going to Toronto. He also played in New York. You got one more guess on this hint. Take your time.
The Nationals and Twins?
Very weird teams, especially at this time.
I gotta think that he didn't have a hugely long career. Like he probably finished up in like 2013 or something if he's lucky. Maybe 2011. Totally guessing. All right, last guess for the round. Think of a Mets closer, man. God, I got to get a phone a friend on some of these. Kylie would have
You
it.
do. Kylie would have it.
All right, I'll move on. John Franco, no shot, 80s.
Not John Franco. All right, let's move on. Career path. White Sox, Expos, then Nationals, but it's the same team. Diamondbacks, Twins, Blue Jays, Mets, Marlins. And it does end in 2013.
I'm the man. I'm actually the man.
Yeah. So you know a lot about this guy.
Is it JJ Putz?
No.
Not
a Blue Jay.
God, is it a closer? A closer for all those teams. Like I have no knowledge of. Like Levon Hernandez won't leave my head because I know he was the first guy to pitch for the Nationals.
Yeah, not him. That would be cool though too if he was Blue Jay.
Can you do the timeline again?
Sure. You want the career path or you want all four hits?
Yeah, the career path.
White Sox, Expos, Nationals, Diamondbacks, Twins, Blue Jays, Mets, Marlins.
Marlins in 13? Can I ask a clarifying question that you may answer, you might not?
Sure.
Was he a closer the whole time?
I'll tell you he was not a closer the whole time.
Okay, that makes it exponentially more difficult. God, I have no idea.
Few guys are a closer the whole time of their career.
Yeah, well, now he's just a random reliever.
I told you some teams he did close with, though. Just to give you a little.
I know that he closed with the Mets and the White Sox and the Twins and the Nationals. Not the Mets. He didn't close with the Mets or the White Sox. Go ahead.
I'll tell you, I only expressly told you that he closed with the Nationals and Twins. I didn't. He might have closed with other teams. He might have not.
A lot of this game for me is reading Ben's face. It's a lot of this game.
Hit number 5. He's the tallest player you or I have ever seen.
What?
He's the tallest player you or I have ever seen.
Well, okay, so it can't be Randy Johnson. You're telling me he's 7 foot plus?
I don't know if you know who the tallest player in MLB ever is, but no one's ever played at 7 foot. But
well, Randy's 6'11".
Well, he's the tallest player you and I have ever seen. I believe Randy's listed at 6'10", but I could be wrong.
Well, so
I'll check
what
that
about
right now.
Oh my God, the tallest player. Dude, why can't I think of this?
Randy is listed at 6'10".
Okay, so this guy's 6'11", I guess.
He's the tallest player we've ever seen. I thought this hint might be a giveaway. That's why a lot of this is built around this hint. And I think for some people it just like snapped. You either like know it or you don't know it.
I'm gonna yeah. I clearly don't know it.
Yeah, fair.
I
just always knew this guy was the tallest guy because when he was playing, he was the tallest guy. Give you a sec.
I'm trying to think of Graham Lloyd. No, he was tall though.
No.
He was also a Yankee. A tall guy in the Mets pen? He must have been a Met in like 2009, right? Like
a little later.
Later. Oh, that helps.
Yeah.
Dang
a little later. I'll give you like 30 to 45 more seconds.
This is really hard.
For everyone who doesn't remember the hints, one more time. Pitcher debuted with the White Sox in 2002. He was known for his time closing with the Nationals and Twins before going to Toronto. He played in New York, career path, White Sox, Expos, Nats, Diamondbacks, Twins, Blue Jays, Mets, Marlins, and he's the tallest player Bones and I have ever seen.
All right. I give up.
You give up? You might get mad at me. Like, this one is hard, but I did think this one was definitely markedly easier than Alfonso. This is John Roush, 6'11" reliever, John Roush.
I have never heard of John Roush.
You've never heard of John? He's the tallest player ever. He played our whole life.
I've never heard of him.
You've never
How do
heard
you
of John?
spell his
He's
name?
Rauch, John Roush. He was a Mets reliever in 2012, pitched in 73 games for the Mets.
Never seen this
Um,
guy ever.
that's insane you never saw John Roush.
And sometimes,
All right.
I've
Now
learned
I feel
in
bad.
no, don't feel bad. It's my own lack of knowledge. I've learned that in this life of learning a lot about baseball in a short amount of time, that some guys slip through the cracks and you don't get everybody. And there are times
Well,
like these where you're like, who the heck is that guy? And people are like, how do you not know that guy? And this is just one of those times.
yeah, 2011, he formed one of the most frustrating back end bullpen tandems for the Blue Jays of John Roush and Frank Francisco. And
What's
they
interesting about this is
were not good.
I'm looking at his baseball reference page. I know his face. Like I've definitely seen his
He's
face before.
6'11, so
I
you've
just
seen his
never
body.
I just never like encoded the information
Yeah.
of John Rouch. Like it's coming back to me as I'm seeing this, but I never knew he was 6'11.
6'11, and the frustrating thing about him, despite being super duper tall, he threw like 88. He did not throw hard at
Interesting.
all.
Yeah, that's
It was
incredibly
pretty
frustrating.
crazy. And every time he came to the game, I would, in my brain, bet against him to get the save because he wasn't very good for the Jays. But I wasn't 19 and it was a different world. So I couldn't do what many of our listeners are already doing, which is teaming up with our partners at Bet Online, who continue to be the number one source for all your betting needs and sports info for all of the latest odds, news and sports developments, including this year's basketball playoffs, Major League Baseball scores, fights, and even next season's NFL futures. Bet Online is your continued source for all your sporting wagering information from live betting to playoffs, esports, and more. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn about the trends in action. Bet Online, where the game starts.
John Rouch haunts me.
Tough. 17-4.
Yep, 17-4. Not a number I like. Not a number I like at all. Once you hit 5 losses, that's when it's really tough. So I got to hit 18 wins before I hit 5 losses. That's all I need.
Okay. It's an interesting two plateaus to try to get to, but
yeah.
we'll move on.
All right. Ben and I, what is it, like a month ago now?
Yeah, almost. It feels like forever ago.
It's been a while. We did, near the beginning of the season, we gave our confidence level in the members of the Jays bullpen. Back then, the season was very young. We had a couple of hot takes. Ben put David Phelps second. I said, what? Ended up being kind of true. So we're going to revisit that, and we're going to give you our current confidence in the Jays bullpen. We're going to go one by one. Do you have Jordan Romano first?
Absolutely. Not even a question.
I do too.
Not even a question.
I just wanted to make sure we had that so we can get that out of the way. We went one by one last time. I feel like we should just go tier by tier and both give.
Okay, and see where. Okay, so let's go next. Who do you got at number 2?
I've got Simber 2.
I also have Simber 2. I had him. I will say I had him 4 on the last list, and Tim Meza was a part of that list. To be fair, so that is part of it. So I really kind of had him 3 because we're not ranking Meza today.
I also remember your reasoning for it was that you don't like submarine guys. You were like,
It's just hard for me to trust. Yeah, I was being an old man, but he's put together a long enough stretch of pitching well that I can trust him.
Big for Adam that he's kind of like grasped your trust. I mean, Adam Simber is really good. I like him. Yeah. Like he's fun to watch, not only because he throws the ball funny, but like also like he just gets guys out and he's number 90. I like Adam Simber. I mean, how could you not? Yeah. He's from Portland. Like he's a weird guy. Like he's cool. I like him.
He dances.
Yeah, he's just nifty. I think nifty's a really good word for him. And yeah, we both got the same 1, 2. I think we're gonna have the same 3, but what do you have?
I stuck with my dog Phelps here, who I had at number Phelps 2 here. Last time. He's just solid every single time you put him in. Like we're not really ranking like talent. We're more ranking like trust, especially within their roles. Like, do I want Phelps all the time to take high leverage innings? No. But like, has he proved that he can a little bit more? Absolutely. And I feel like very good about where I had him last time at 2, only moving him to 3 this time.
Good call.
And really not because he went down, more because Simber went up for me.
Yeah. What did it for me was the game he finished on Sunday against Anaheim. He came in that game, and also I was thinking about this, and in that moment, I was like, I need David Phelps on the mound. Like, it was like, you can't have Romano, you can't have whoever else. Who can you have? David Phelps, put him in. So I like Phelps, and your reasoning last time kind of resonates with me this time in that, like, he's the veteran, and like I just kind of like the veteran out of the pen. Like, every pen needs like two things in my eyes. Like, everybody needs one guy who throws 500 miles an hour, and every pen needs a guy who's just like 36 or 37. Is like, yep, I'm a guy eating seeds and spitting them everywhere, and like I'm gonna go in and do the job, even though my stuff's not that crazy. So David Phelps is that guy for the Jays. All right, who is your fourth guy? I kind of think we're gonna have the same list, and I'm kind of shook about it.
We'll see. My fourth guy's Garcia,
Me
which he
too.
was. If we're removing Mesa again from the last list, it's the same spot. However, I will say it's much more like earning that fourth than by process of elimination this time. He's had a good last couple weeks. Like, he's been big for the Jays. I trust him a lot more. I just also think that Simber and Phelps have had a good month, and I didn't think that either of them deserved to be jumped by him. But I think Garcia's been really good, and I trust him a lot more than last time we did this list.
Yeah, he has been really good in his last 7 appearances. He's allowed 1 run, and it was a solo shot against Cincinnati. So, yeah, I mean, Yimmy's been played very, very well, and he started the year like pretty solid, and then just had a really rocky outing against Boston at home, where he gave up 4 and his ERA skyrocketed. Then he gave up another one to New York the next outing, and then he just kind of brought it down really slowly from there. So I wasn't high on Yimmy at first. I was a little skeptical. Then he kind of proved my skepticism, but since has brought it back down to earth. So he earns the 4 spot for me. This is the one where I thought it would be skeptical, but now that we're here, I guess it won't be. Who is your next one? Mine is Strip.
So I put Richards,
Wow,
which is
you hate
interesting.
Strip.
Only
You're
I
a
don't
Strip
hate Strip.
hater.
I love Strip.
You're a Strip hater.
But
No,
Strip,
go ahead. Hate Strip. It's fine. Go ahead.
I like Strip. Richards has been good recently. I know he wasn't in this specific game we're talking about, but he really helped them out in 2 big spots in the Angels series. And Strip is just like, I trust Strip when they put him on. I know he got that save. It was against Andrew Velasquez, who in a hot streak was hitting like 210.
Don't talk crap about Andrew Velasquez. That's my guy.
Squid,
I
the Bronx,
love that
Bronx
guy.
guy. I like Velasquez too. Can't really hit, even though he has been hitting a little
he
better
can't.
recently.
People forget he started a wild card game.
He did. And I think the interesting thing about Strips too is like, how confident, other than that one situation, do you feel about him coming on with men on? I just don't. I feel like he's got to be a clean inning guy. He pitched decently in that Angels game, but still gave up a run or two in an inning and 2/3. Like, I trust him to throw strikes, but his stuff gets hit half the time.
So this is your reasoning for putting Strip lower?
Lower, yeah.
Yeah,
I think Richards
I put Strip
good is a
above
lot
Richards.
better.
I think I have some recency bias because of today's game where he just kind of blew
Fair.
up. But also, like, to your point, like, Strip's been fine out of the pen. He was a lot more impressive to me when he would kind of like be pretty good in 4 or 5 innings starting a game when Ryu was out. Because since he's been in the pen, he's only gone 1 outing without giving up a run. So, like, that's not good. Objectively, that's not good.
No, it's okay when you give up 2 or 3 when you're starting because you go like 5 innings or 4 innings. It's not as cool when you go less than 2 innings and you give up a run.
In terms of like, the confidence level is a little bit different than like the stats and who's better. In terms of confidence, I think I still have confidence in Strip over Richards to get it back down because this is a guy who's been an all-star. He has pitched on the biggest stage. He's a veteran in his own right. Like, I still like Strip, and I'm confident with him going on the mound going forward. Has he struggled? Yes, but I have more confidence in him to bring it back than if Richards was in this position to bring it back, kind of thing, if that makes sense.
That's fair. No, I get what you're saying. And then unfortunately, we both have the same bottom guy. He pitched well tonight.
He did. That's my boy. I'm proud of him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we could trust him, he'd be the closer, you know? Like, he throws so hard.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Every bullpen needs 2 things. The guy who throws 500 and the guy, I can't remember, the veteran. So Phelps is the veteran. Merriweather's the guy that throws 1 billion miles an hour. Everyone needs it. Doesn't matter how good
no
you are
clue where
sometimes.
it's going. We've
Yeah.
no clue where
He
it's going.
also just has 2 pitches. Like, he throws the slider. He almost uses it's actually kind of really interesting. He did a lot tonight. He almost uses the fastball instead of the slider as the changing of the speeds. Like, he uses the slider as the primary pitch, and then to change speeds on the hitter, will throw 100 miles an hour, which I think is kind of nifty.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
but
kind of
I
interesting.
just have no clue where it's going. Like in the Angels
It's
series,
true.
he hit Otani with a pitch up in the count and then left a pitch dead red in the middle of the plate for Mike Trout. Like just the 2 worst locations possible. So I have
Yeah.
no clue what to think. But hey, he could be working his way into our good graces soon. That's why we keep updating the list.
It's true. Well, thank you for making Locked On Blue Jays your first listen today. Now make your second listen the Locked On MLB podcast with MLB expert and our close personal friend, Paul Francis Sullivan. And please call him Sully. He brings humor, passion, and a unique perspective on every team and the biggest stories around the league. Follow the #1 daily league-wide podcast that he claims has 78 million listeners. It's Locked On MLB on the Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcast. Ben and I will see you tomorrow.